A very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us again this week for the first edition of the evening review for this week. My name is Teivo Njebela. Tonight on the platform we are joined by a young man. His name is Efraim Nanyeni. He is, of course, a resident of Windhoek, and just ahead of the election next week, we are engaging also young voices to hear what their aspirations are in the conversations regarding service delivery. Thank you very much, Mr. Nanyeni, for making time. If you can tell us a bit about yourself so that people just know what qualifies the conversation.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Toivo. My name is Efraim Nanyeni, as you have stated. I'm doing some odd jobs there around Windhoek. Okay. I live here in Windhoek since 2019. I first came here in 2019 for my university. Okay. I lived in I hail from the rural village called Donanjo, Tamazi constituency. Okay. Some few kilometers outside of Okahao. Okay. Yes.
Odd jobs. What does that mean? Did you graduate or you still?
Yeah. I'm a graduate intern somewhere close by here.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you study?
I studied Bachelor of English and Applied Linguistics. Okay. From 2019 up until 2023. That's when I graduated. Then I continued to do a postgraduate honors degree in public governance. Okay. Majoring in economics and politicals.
That is still going on right now?
No. I finished. I did it last year, but I then finished this year. It's a 1-year program, but I happened to, unfortunately, didn't pass one subject, which I did this year. Okay. And I finished already with it.
Oh, wonderful. So, I mean, the elections that we're talking about now, we have local authorities, and then we have the regional councils, which are your councillors for constituencies. As a young man yourself, I suppose you have registered to vote?
Yes.
What are you going to vote for? What is it that when you make that cross at whatever party you choose to do or candidate, what do you want them to do for you?
We want a tangible developmental change. It may not be in my area where I live, but I want to see it. That yes, here with my naked eyes, that this is coming from the local authority or my constituent, my councillor, for that matter. He's doing this. He's busy with this. He did this. There must be something that is, yes, I can associate with. Be it the representation, engagement with me or those whom of my age. And it has to go beyond across those ones who are up looking to a councillor, as a government representative. Yeah. Those are public offices, and then we want them to reflect that, yes, the public is really reaping what they have casted their votes for on the 26th of November, post that.
Yeah. Are there any specific things that you see today that are on the ground, whether where you live or within your immediate surrounding, that you think, no, this can't be happening 35 years after independence?
Yes, there are much more of them. In the street where I come from, where I live today, if a month passes with a dry street, we are so fortunate. You would see that the sewage system, it's just dripping. It bursts a week after a week. And then you could see that kids are playing with that water, unhygienic water. That touches my heart to say, where is the healthcare? But before that, where is the councillor to intervene to say that what is really bursting this water? It's not only in my street. I'm just giving an example that in my street, that's what is really transpiring there. But it's being visible everywhere. You go to Havana, I live in Ochomwize. You go to Havana, you go to Ombirio, Kuyongava, and elsewhere. I happened to go and visit one of my family there in Swakopmund and elsewhere. They are using bucket toilets. And you are asking yourself, where is the councillor in terms of this, because that's the role or the responsibility which the councillor should be doing. But beyond that, also, you could see that there are many youth or much of my age mates who are just loitering in the street. The government ought to hold itself accountable to say, these are people we have sent to school. These are people we have schooled into our public infrastructures that we have built with so much money. But what is the gap? What happened between us to remove ourselves from that person, that this person is no longer useful to us, so that we can just let him be and live his own life? The crime that is happening into our communities, it's so devastating. December is approaching now. Everybody, wherever you go, on radio, anywhere else, we are being warned that take care of your things because crime is happening. But it wasn't supposed to be like that. Crime was not supposed to be so persistent to that extent that even a child is warned that crime is at a high rate. So those are much more of the issues that are at a local level, and they have an attachment with votes and with the political players and the voters themselves, such as us.
Yeah. Do you think things like crime is or are a result of just criminality, people just wanting to go out there and rob people and stab people, or do you think there are more fundamental structural issues that we must deal with in order to avoid crime being that high?
It's economical. It's economical because for a person to have a season to steal, that tells you why they have to steal, because they have to plow back to go and take bread back to their homes. I have a brother who also engages in such activities. And he's one who used to give me money before when I was at secondary school. He's the one who used to give me money to go to school.
Yeah.
And him appearing so, he doesn't tell you that it is like that. And it's so sad that some of us are a product of that. We have to do something. It is not about that the person himself. If I do something wrong, he will wake me up in the morning and tell me, go to school and study. This is not how it has to be.
Yeah.
You see what most of us, we are doing, how we are doing it, and for what purpose we are doing it. People are not stealing or they are not engaged into crime because they want to. Nobody would be pleased to be in a cell. I have never been in a cell myself, but apparently it's not nice there.
Yeah.
They would tell you that it's not nice and please, I don't want you to walk my path. It's economical, and the African economic renaissance, which was supposed Africans to move away from a dependency situation whereby they depend in crime for them to survive. How can a normal human being, up until today, 35 years of independence, we are still, someone depends on crime to survive? It doesn't make sense at all. Someone, somewhere, is accountable and needs to be held accountable beyond the criminal himself or herself.
Yeah. You were a student until recently. What have you gone through as a student? What kind of challenges did you experience as a student that you think councillors ought to have resolved, or whether it's local authority or your constituency council, your political leaders? What are some of the things that you can share with us?
Come on.
What are some of those experiences that you can share with us?
As a student?
Yes.
You know, as a student, there is a situation whereby, as a student, you are being looked up to, that already you are successful.
By the parents at home?
Yeah, by parents at home. Once you pass grade 12, in the villages and everywhere else you go, it starts from grade 12. You are already being glorified that you are successful, you are looked up to as this person who is already, and even your behavior yourself now begins to change because you are exposed to a different experience. But that experience comes with different challenges. For instance, there is a situation whereby here in Windhoek, students, they go to school with taxi. Although there is NASFA for anything of that kind, which now the government is now trying to abolish, maybe to bring in other alternatives. The taxi money is a very challenging issue on its own. Now, I happen to live with my aunt, and there are days where we go on hunger. We sleep with an empty stomach. And she even told me, even on the day of my graduation, to say, brother man, you don't need to sleep with a stomach full. You know how you guys used to be here. When you get a job, don't eat and become, it's like Mr. Toivo. No, you don't need to be like that. But it tells you that there are people who are struggling. I am a man. There are situations whereby people would engage into other activities, unholy activities, because of a student life.
Yeah.
Those challenges emanate, people would be sleeping with empty stomach. Now imagine a girl child of my age, she's just grade 18 or so, pure from the rural village like me. She was never exposed to some other fancy things. And then she comes in Windhoek to be told that, no, I will be taking you to school and then you don't need to pay. That's a bonus to her. And then this is a big mandala like that. Our especially the females one, it's a pity to them. A councillor or a local authority councillor was supposed to engage in, if he knows that there are students, how many students do I have in my constituency? Then he goes and cries to the national government to say, we have got so many students of this number that do not have taxi or do not have accommodations. Can't we please also, while NASFAF is coming, NASFAF always comes June, July. While NASFAF is coming, but March, up until that, it's a whole semester on its own, without tax money or anything. And even after that, students, they go to school and they don't prospect that, yes, I'm going to pass. Some of them, they even fail beyond their year of fail. But those who are good or those who are unfortunate enough, they have to be faced with so many challenges. I'm just mentioning a few of them, like taxi, accommodation, and other. Those were supposed to be outsourced, and a councillor was supposed to come in and then say, or a governor, to say, what do we do about this?
Yeah. Yeah, I fully understand that. The problem is, we know now that even with free varsity education that is coming in very soon, the government has made it very clear that issues of transport and there are two things there, transport and something else. Those are still on you as a student. At what point, I mean, if I know that families face challenges, and I'm not speaking from merely from a position of a guy who has a job and whatnot, but at what point does the family of that student take responsibility? Because if your child has a situation where she accepts to live with some guy in a shack because the guy drives a cab and he says, look, if you give me this, in exchange I will give you transport for free, that is very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
At what point does the parent take responsibility also to take over that responsibility? Because tuition is already, I mean, you mentioned NASFAF.
Yeah.
So NASFAF is already government chipping in.
Yeah.
Of course, much later, maybe in the year. So government is doing its part in that sense, and the parent ought to also play some role. But just park that thought.
Yeah.
We are going for a very short break and then return with Efraim Nanyeni.
Missed the latest episode of Tourismus? Don't worry, Echo has you covered. Catch every travel adventure, insider industry news, and exciting destinations from Tourismus anytime, anywhere. Visit www.oneup2.com and click on Echo to relive the journeys, rewind the adventures, replay the stories. Tourismus, where adventure meets prime time.
We continue the conversation with young Efraim Nanyeni. So, to my question,
Yes.
maybe just to summarize it really.
Yes.
Government provides money to students via NASFAF, assuming that particular student has a student loan.
Yeah.
Because not everybody gets it.
Yeah.
But the bulk of them get it. And the grandmother in the village where where this girl comes from
Yeah.
also receives
Pension fund.
old age pension.
Yeah.
And children that are vulnerable in that house also receive. So there are some money coming into the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we are saying now that even the kept money again, your counselor or somebody there must also be responsible. Where is the parental role here?
You know, one thing we need to do as a government, looking at the government, we are not looking at some other foreign institution that lives somewhere else.
Yeah.
But we are looking at, suppose now it's a house. Someone, your son works, and then you are as a father, and then tomorrow really she's not in the house. You are not going to say, no, Simon who works must also provide. Ordinarily, he would be providing. But I'm just framing that to say that the government is the father of these kids. You give this pension to a grandmother with you already knowing what that money is going to be used for. It cannot also again to come back and then fund someone who is now graduating from that poverty to come and then assist again into that family. Because we go to school so that we go and plow back at home.
Yes.
Parental role will now zoom in as to say, where is the accommodation of the child staying? What about food? You see, all that. Per month here, the cost of food in Windhoek, in particular, or elsewhere in towns, it's very costly. And that's one now thing to tell you. And now if a grandmother now outsources, ordinary, which is something which they do, obviously, they always do that. They send money, you hear, no, my money is at ShopRite. If you go in ShopRite now, there's a queue because parents are sending money through ShopRite because they can't read and transfer or anything of that sort. But I'm just trying to put or suggest that parents, they are there, but their roles should be limited so that whatever money that the government gives into the village, which is the village reality, should always try to transform. If you go into the villages where we come from, Mr. Toivo, you would see that there is nothing really that the government, that shows that there is a government, that there's a presence of government, except that money. That money can't build a toilet. That money now, now, if in terms of the years that of drought and everything, grannies are also surviving on that money. Yeah. And there may be 3-4 of them that are in the university per year. And per month, that money comes so small.
No,
I don't know how much it is, maybe 1,000 or something. But
1,600, yes.
To divide it to such an extent, it's very little for a girl child in particular.
Yeah.
Those of us, the guys, we can even go a week, bath twice or once. Our soup can just, last. But to a girl child, it's something that I pity and I associate that perhaps as government, of course, we are a young nation, but somewhere, somehow, we need to zoom in.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I understand. I fully understand. No, I was just driving you to say something might be a lot, because look, the structural, the mother of all problems is unemployment.
Yes.
Once there's no job, then the whole family structure is in trouble.
Yes.
Because imagine like yourself, you've graduated now. And like you say about, like what you said about expectations, people expect that Efraim has graduated, he will quickly get a job after university, and he will come home and help his siblings. Or his younger siblings and whatnot. So that is the difficulty. But In terms of things like accommodation, student accommodation, which is a big issue also that you just mentioned, what must happen there?
You know, one thing we need to see, and to the government or the local government in particular,
Yeah.
they need to do when they go to our voters or when they are actually busy campaigning now.
Yeah.
You see, there is a video of where we come from now.
Yeah.
Councillor is campaigning at cooker shops because that's where the youth is being found, and the number of the youth, the labor of the youth possess
Yeah.
a potential labor force.
Yeah.
Whereby you could see that, yes, this is what needs to happen. Why a councillor would go and find these people at cooker shops in the middle of the afternoon, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 1 or 12 o'clock? It tells you that there are no other activities that these youth are engaged. Yeah. There is no work. Yeah. Even in the rural communities, there is nothing. A councillor should be telling us how this community or how this constituency is going to look after 5 years. Then it goes to tell you that already, even those of us who are in urban cities could feel something, and then it calls to whereby infrastructure, in developmental infrastructure. What about accommodation? Because you would just find that there is nothing, literally, not even a building. You may have money, but there is no a building where to rent. Yeah. There is no public infrastructures that can be said, oh, these are government flats. They can be rented out by students. Yeah. You know, so except private sectors. So that's where now the government or the local authority, the business of the local authority needs to transform, actually acutely so, transform with a purposeful and decisiveness to transform our communities in terms of infrastructure, decent job and sustainable job. Yeah. That will already tell us that after 5-10 years, even those of us who work or are doing something are poor working force. How is that going to transform back at home?
Yeah. Tell me just in closing, Efraim, that in terms of during your varsity days, yes, you ought to have had some friends here in Windhoek who lived in places like Havana and elsewhere where there's no electricity, either to study at night, but also when you live, because during my varsity days, our first class was at 7:30. I don't know whether that is still the case. That's very, very early. Yeah. So, and if you're working from a place that doesn't have electricity and also a bus stop, it means that you have to pass through valleys in order to reach where the bus stop is. What are some of the experiences that they have shared with you that you think maybe can be addressed in terms of what the local authorities must do?
You see, the only thing now that we are seeing is the street lights. The street lights are there, but there are no roads. There is no formalization of what is this? Of our townships. There is nothing. You would see that the person will tell you, I had a friend of mine, many of them. One was my closest friend. He stays in Havana 3-way, if you may know. So he would tell you that it's dangerous. In the morning you are texting him, let's go. But I was very fortunate. I was so almost close to the road. But even that, you can't go there alone. Yeah. Because if you happen to go there alone, our brothers, they will be jackals on you. But anyways, on that, the local authority needs to come up with a strategic action plan. What needs to be done in the safety of those who wakes up in the morning. Our parents as well, they are in danger in terms of that. And these are people who are poor. A person slept on an empty stomach. To early in the morning, you are seeing her being scuffled with these boys. She's under the boys trying to get the phone. And she expects to come back home. She expects to be early at work. The bosses, or those, especially those who are working far away in academia and Olympia, elsewhere, they are in danger. The government needs to come up with a strategic action plan on terms of what needs to be done. Yeah. in terms of economical development.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the streetlights alone. I know if we want to be very radical anyhow, nobody went to war to go and to go and fight for streetlights. It has to be something better than that. And that is what needs to now be felt and also be tangible, that will obviously be a positive impact or a positive gesture towards those who are living in that community. Havana and those areas or elsewhere in Walvis Bay, in Swakopmund, or anywhere around Namibia here, the people are very in danger when it comes to waking up, and public transport needs to be made so safer than ever before. That's very due sooner than now.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Efraim, thank you very much for making time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tevo.
Yeah, thank you. No, we are still, but we appreciate Efraim Nanyeni for coming and sharing some perspectives from young people as far as their expectations for the local authority and regional council elections are concerned. Thank you for watching.